Have you ever just stopped and thought about what it's like in the deep, deep ocean? You know, that silent, crushing blackness. For a whale, well, it's just another day at the office. But even for these absolute titans, there's a limit. A point where survival becomes this incredible masterclass in biological engineering. So let's just dive right into it. We all know whales are amazing divers, but a depth of 1,100 meters, we're talking over 3,600 feet down, that sounds just extreme. So the question is a dive like that just a casual swim for them, or is it genuinely pushing them right to their absolute edge? And the answer is a big, fat, definitive yes. But it's not about feeling pain, not in the way you and I might think about it. It's about entering a zone where the body's own internal systems are stretched to their absolute design limits. This is where the whale goes into what our source calls serious mode. Okay, so what in the world does serious mode actually mean? Let's take a virtual dive together and find out exactly what's happening to the whale's body, step by step, as it goes deeper and deeper. First things first, we've got to talk about the main challenge here. It's the villain of our story, really. The immense, relentless pressure of the deep sea. It is the single greatest force the whale's body has to deal with. To put it in perspective, at a depth of 1,000 meters, the pressure is over 100 times greater than the atmospheric pressure that you and I are feeling right now. Just try to imagine the weight of 100 skies pressing in on you from every single direction. It's wild.
And what's really fascinating here is just how fast that pressure ramps up. At just 10 meters, where a beginner scuba diver might be, it's already doubled. By 100 meters, which is near the absolute limit for a human, it's 11 atmospheres. And at 1,000 meters, a mind-blowing 101 atmospheres. This isn't just a tough environment, it's a place where the laws of physics themselves feel like they're trying to break you.
So how on earth does a living, breathing creature made of flesh and bone even survive this? Well, the answer is this incredible toolkit of physiological adaptations. The whale's body is basically a masterpiece of deep-sea engineering, designed to systematically shut down and conserve every last bit of energy. And get this, it's not a panic response, not at all. It's a controlled, deliberate sequence. First, the lungs collapse. Then, blood gets rerouted. The muscles unlock their own hidden oxygen supply. And finally, even the nerves slow right down. Okay, let's break that down piece by piece. So by just 200 to 300 meters down, the immense pressure has already completely collapsed the whale's lungs, which means at 1,100 meters, they're functionally offline. Gas exchange has totally stopped. From this point forward, the whale is surviving only on the oxygen that it has stored away in its blood and muscles. That's it. Now, to manage that precious stored oxygen, the circulatory system goes into this extreme conservation mode. The heart rate just plummets, sometimes to as low as 1/10 of its normal rate. Then blood flow is cut off from everything except the most critical organs. We're talking just the brain and the heart. Every other part of the body is basically put into a temporary state of oxygen deprivation. And this is where the final backup system kicks in. The muscles have a special protein called myoglobin, which acts like a final set of emergency oxygen tanks. At these incredible depths, the myoglobin releases its last reserves. Once that's gone, past 1,100 meters, the muscles start building up lactic acid. This creates an oxygen debt that can only be repaid once the whale finally gets back to the surface. And finally, everything just slows down. The deep sea is incredibly cold, right? Just 2 to 4 degrees Celsius. That cold, combined with all the other pressures, actually causes the whale's nerve transmissions to slow down. Its whole body enters a state that's almost like hibernation. This isn't about pain. It's a deep, metabolic, power-saving mode to conserve every last joule of energy. Okay, so we've seen the mechanics of this incredible shutdown sequence, but what does it all feel like? What is the reality of being in this tough zone, where your body is literally operating at its absolute design limit? And this is the key. It's not some frantic struggle for life. It's actually a state of profound stillness, a silent, almost meditative trance, where the body is right on the razor's edge of survival, and any wasted energy, any unnecessary movement is simply impossible. This analogy from the source material really helps put it all into perspective for us. The first few hundred meters for a whale, that's kind of like us taking a deep breath and diving down. But by 1100 meters, it's a state of final oxygen reserves, with the heart at its absolute minimum. And deeper than that, it's described as a low-power meditative trance, a state that is just completely, utterly alien to our human experience. And this quote just captures it perfectly. It's a state that's defined by its limitations. The whale isn't fighting the pressure, it's yielding to it. It becomes this silent, incredibly efficient survival machine in the cold, dark deep. Now, 1100 meters is already just mind-boggling. But for the undisputed champion of deep diving, it's just the beginning. Let's put this tough zone into an even more extreme context, the sperm whale. You see, for a sperm whale, its typical hunting ground is between 400 and 1,000 meters. So that 1,100-meter tough zone we've been talking about this whole time, for them, that's just the lower boundary of their office. It's a depth that most other whale species will simply never, ever see. And this chart really just shows the sheer scale of their ability. You've got your average whale dive, then you have the 1,100-meter tough zone, and then look at that, you have the sperm whale record at nearly 3,000 meters. That leap is so vast, it almost seems impossible. This isn't just pushing the limit. This is completely rewriting what the limit even is. And get this, the longest observed dive that we've seen associated with these record-breaking depths lasted for an astonishing 138 minutes. That is over 2 hours holding its breath in pretty much the most hostile environment on planet Earth. Okay, we've journeyed all the way down to 1,100 meters and even beyond. We looked at the pressure, the incredible shutdown sequence, and what it feels like to be at the limit. Now, let's bring it all home. This table here recaps the whole journey just beautifully. At 100 meters, yeah, things are pretty normal. But by 1,000 meters, the lungs are collapsed, the heart is suppressed, and the whale is running on stored oxygen from its blood and muscles. And at 1,100 meters and beyond, the lungs are totally offline, the heart is at its rock-bottom minimum level, and the body is running only on what's left in the muscles. It is truly and literally at the limit. And that really brings us to a final thought, doesn't it? The whale's dive shows us a biological system pushed to the absolute fringe of what we even thought was possible. It just makes you wonder, if this is what's happening at the known limits, what other incredible, undiscovered survival strategies are still out there, waiting for us in the vast, unexplored darkness of the deep ocean?